Hello, welcome to Temple Talk. Cara and Amundo Mendez here with you again this Sunday. Hi. So today we're going to be sharing with you guys about the mother and our relationship and connection with her, and where we find that others are disconnected, what happens when we're disconnected from the mother, why we are disconnected from the mother, and how to reconnect back to her, and the benefits of doing so, and how this is so deeply woven into the core of our work.
And I'll be sharing my relation to the mother also, not just like my biological mother, but like Earth and the Sweat Lodge, and because they all represent the mother, and so it's a interesting journey.
Yes. So today is like, we really are coming off of a big week of like, yesterday was the lunar eclipse, and this past week there's been a lot of really challenging, heartbreaking things happening in the world, and a lot of us are feeling the effects of it, whether we're directly impacted or involved. We still feel it, right? Because we are all connected. Because we are all beings of the earth, the mother. And when we speak of the mother, what I'm referring to is the primordial mother. And that may be an unfamiliar term for you. I know that it was for me initially. The primordial mother is Mother Earth. It is Gaia. It is the creatrix of all life. And I first encountered the primordial mother in a consciously, when she spoke to me. And of course I had encountered her many, many other times through, sitting on the earth, and she was moving through me in various different ways that I just did not know was actually happening fully. We also oftentimes, I also feel that the primordial mother is called the dark mother, is called the dragon mother, is earth woman. There's so many names. The dark goddess, even Kali. These are all Lilith. These are all different names for the mother. And we tend to think of the mother only in terms of like Mother Mary, the virginal, light-bearing mother. But she's not just that. She is both. She is light and dark, just as Mother Earth is the giver of life, but also she is chaos and destruction and death. And a lot of us are very afraid of that side of the mother, which is why nature can be a very life-giving and sustaining experience, or it can literally be the end of our physical existence. And with that said, I think a lot of what we are experiencing amongst humanity, I know me personally, I have been feeling this. It's largely because there is such a great disconnection with the mother. And would you like to share like kind of what even brought up this conversation this morning specifically?
Yeah, well, like Cara was saying, there's been a lot of activations, and we just got done doing a Sweat Lodge on Friday, which is, basically going back into the mother. The Sweat Lodge is built with the essence of the mother. And so this like mother theme has already been kind of playing out, and Cara's been feeling really deeply about like what's happening in the collective. And we're just kind of brainstorming some ideas of what we should talk about today. And there is a book sitting right there in our coffee table It's called the.
It's called Womb Awakening.
Yeah, and I just looked at Cara and I said, I'm gonna open this book, and the first thing that comes is what we should be talking about today. And I opened the book and it said, the earth is the mother. And then there was, a few sentences that we read, and it was just me and Cara just looked at each other. We're like, okay, we know what we're talking about today. Because it was just like, it was just confirmation of like everything we've experienced in the last, few weeks.
Well, in really few years, but amplified. Really come into like a clear focus, very focused energies on our relationship.
And it's something that, and it's not to interrupt you, but it's something that we really haven't really spoken about. I feel like we haven't brought a lot of attention to it, but it's played a huge, major role in the work that we do today.
Yeah.
There has been a lot, for me, it's been a lot of initiations with a mother. It started with my own mother, so.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And actually, I just saw a whole entry point. Like, we've been having this conversation, the two of us, about I had a very, very detrimental relationship with my mother growing up. It was very unhealthy. There was a lot of wounding that played out between the both of us, and ultimately, through that, there was tremendous opportunities for me to heal, and many, many, many lessons for me to receive around that, which I have and continue to receive. But also, because of my relationship with my mother, I never wanted to be one. I never wanted to be a mother, ever. And yet, then I came in, I met Eddie, and he was like, basically like, let me make you a mother. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And ultimately we did, I did end up getting pregnant, and I did end up having our first son almost 17 years ago. He's almost 17 now. And we now have 5 children. So not only did I never want to be a mother, and swore to it, like profusely swore I would never, ever be a mother, that I actually am now a mother of 5, and I work with directly and channel and embody the Primordial Mother, which Edmundo also played such a huge, significant role in returning me to her, reminding me that I am her. And it can only ever, I don't know that we really have time to tell the whole story today, but it can only be described as a divine orchestration of how this all came about and happened. Is there anything you want to add into that before I tell the story about the Temescal, or do you want to tell the story?
Well, I'll give a little bit of background on my journey with a mother, right? So, growing up, I would say I had a pretty good relationship with my mother. We had pretty good communication. I felt loved. I felt accepted. But I think around the age of like maybe 14 or 15, I started to, come into myself, and I wanted to be independent from my mother. I wanted to become a man. And I didn't know how to be in a relationship with her without rejecting her. So I did. I rejected her, right? I stopped sharing with her. I pushed her away. And then throughout the years, that just got more amplified, right? To the point where when I was like 18, 19, I really didn't have a relationship with my mom, right? Looking back now, I know that I'm from California. And so as I rejected my mom at the age of about 14, 15, I started going to the beach a lot, hanging out at the beach a lot. And I feel like I couldn't be in a relationship with my mom because I felt like a child, and I wanted to feel empowered, right? I wanted to feel like man. So I replaced my mom with like the ocean. The ocean started giving me that, right? That connection to the mother. I didn't understand at that time that's what it was happening, right? Mm-hmm. But the relationship with my mom became not a good one, it was just a disconnection. And then I moved to Missouri when I was about 18, and I totally got lost. Totally, I didn't have the ocean now. I didn't have, the earth to provide me with that motherly love, or that to hold me in that way, right? and I really rejected the mother, and I made it wrong, right? And what I did was, it just made me really hard. You know, I became really in my masculine, right? Very disconnected from the feminine, very disconnected from the mother, you know, all the way around. And that created a lot of issues for me. That created a lot of, you know, just rejection. You know, rejection of my own feminine, rejection of the feminine. And I always knew that there was something there for me, but I didn't know, right? And then fast forward many years, like Cara said, we started having kids, and there was still a disconnect when it came to her mother. There was still a disconnect between us, right? I didn't understand, you know, what Cara was experiencing. Even after we got pregnant with our first son, it took me a while to understand like what was happening, right? That there was a shift that had happened within Cara, and it was happening within me, and that there was a different aspect of me now to be supportive of the mother, to be in a different relationship with the mother, right? To not reject Cara's mother, right? It's almost like I feel like the mother was taking Cara away from me, you know, and it even brought out some more emotions, some more like, you know, anger and frustration. I go ahead and I went and started a business, right, where I was very in my masculine. It served me. It served me to a point, but then it led me feeling like alone and like depleted and just like very much in like this, you know, do kind of thing, and very unbalanced, right? And my health took a toll too. You know, I just became depressed, and I also started gaining a bunch of weight and just not in a good place. And so I decided that I wanted to explore that, like what is really happening here. And I went and I read a bunch of books just on all kinds of different topics, right? And I did a bunch of trainings and stuff like that, right? But I still felt like there was something missing. And then I came across the Temazcal, which is the Srelach, and it really spoke to me. The Srelach, it was built with the essence of the mother, of the feminine. And I don't know why, it was just such a pull like a remembrance, like, man, like I feel like there's something here for me. And so I built this Srelach in my backyard, you know, and
can we just acknowledge really quickly that he had never experienced a sweat lodge or a Temazcal in person, although they are a part of his culture, although his family had attended them, you know, many years prior and when they were younger. But he had never personally done this, and he just, through research and through this like divine calling, was like, I feel like I need to create this thing. And he mulled it over for months and months and learned everything he could about it. And then he just was like, came to me one day and basically was like, hey, I want to do this thing. And I was like, I already know you're going to do it. You don't even need to ask. Just do whatever you want to do, you know?
Well, it wasn't like the first time doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Know? So, it was a very strong call, you know? And honestly, I had no idea what it was going to give me. I had no clue. Like, you know, I just knew that I had to do this thing, everything I was reading, all the videos I was watching, it was just it just makes sense. You know, in my brain, I'm like, I don't know why, but there's something here for me. And of course, I'm like burping.
You're moving in it. Yeah, there's such an activation.
Because like even you know, it was gonna be me spending money and time away from my family and all that, you know, and so I questioned it, you know, and it was just building the thing was a journey itself, you know. It taught me so much. But then I built this thing, right? And then Cara and I go in there like just like, you know, I don't even know, it wasn't even planned. We were like, well, now I built it, let's go try it out and see what this is about, you know. And
we didn't even turn it on.
We didn't even have the hot stones in there or anything like that, you know.
Just a drum. And
then it became very clear on why I built this thing. It wasn't just for me. It was also for Cara and for all the women that we saw and men that we've been working with. It was very clear that we all wanted to connect to the mother so deeply, you know, and that's what the Temazcal is. That's what the Srelach is. It's a connection to the mother again, and in there you can experience unconditional love. You can be all of yourself. You know, you can fall apart, you can laugh, you can do everything. All the things that I felt like I needed from a mother, but I didn't feel safe, right? I didn't feel powerful. So then my go-to was to reject the mother, reject her, because my mother was the physical representation of the mother, right? And my mother, and so I rejected her. But through the Temazcal, I've been able to reconnect with that, and also Cara had a pretty profound experience there the first time we went in there.
Yeah. And yes.
And let me finish this. I was going with something. I was also so I know I speak about being hard and being disconnected. It allowed me to soften up. It allowed me to have more compassion, to have more understanding. You know, to repair my relationship with the feminine. You know, even with my mother. You know, to see her like, wow, this is what she experienced. This is what the pain she's been through, you know, as the mother, and have that much more compassion for her, for Cara, for all the women that we come and work like. It's exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I needed. What I didn't understand all those years is that I needed to connect with the mother again. I needed to find that, you know, to be that much closer to being whole, to be, you know, to be sovereign, you know, in my own path.
And like, as you're telling this story, and you know, every time we talk about this, there's always something new, I feel like, that's revealed for ourselves and about our experience. And as you're sharing this right now, I'm like, oh, you Edmundo, are like a bridge for us, for humanity, to reconnect to the mother through this portal that you created, right? The portal to her womb, literally, because the Temazcal is a dome-shaped structure. It's pretty small. It only fits like 10 to 12 people. 12 would be real tight. And it's got a round top, just like a pregnant belly of a mother. And it has a little tiny door. So you like climb in, like you're literally going back in through the birth canal, going into the womb of the mother, which is, you know, Mother Earth is what it represents, the primordial mother. So the first time we went in there, and Edmundo has like his shaman drum. It's like made out of a tree trunk, and it's like horse skin on it. It's, you know, came from Mexico. It's a one-of-a-kind drum. And he just played that for me. And it was like in the winter, it was cold, you know. I remember having like a hoodie and pants on and laying on the sand floor of the Temazcal. And you just were playing your drum and took me into like a trance. And I heard her speak to me directly, so clearly. And she said, I am the primordial mother. And I was like, okay, like I have no idea. I never had heard that term before, primordial mother. I'd never heard that. I didn't even know what that meant. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Was my question to her. And she said, everything you desire is yours. And then I was even more confused. I was even more baffled, more like, I don't understand. What am I supposed to do with this? And she just said, you will be shown. You will be shown. And then I had this knowing, this sense that I was the primordial mother, that this voice speaking to me was because this is who I was. And then I felt just like waves of orgasmic bliss energy just move through me, and I just had an emotional response. Tears just started flowing out of my eyes, and but I was in this like state of bliss, and it was very beautiful. And then I had this awareness, and it was I heard this very distinctly. He built this for me to come home. And I told you that. I told him that. I said, you built this for me. You built this for me to come home. And I felt that so wholly and fully in my whole being. And he said, no, I didn't.
Talk about having the awarenesses, even as you're talking right now, you said, hey, you build this for me. I feel like in that moment you were challenging the mother, right?
Yes.
Because you're not the only one that has experienced it. There's been so many women now, women that, that have come to the soul and experienced that. And what I mean is they experience everything that the mother is. The dark mother, the light mother, everything the mother is, right? It is like the one that loves big, the one that loves unconditionally, the one that wants to be of service,
ecstatic.
The one that is static, the one that experiences bliss, or the one that carries, the seductive, the one that holds, like the one that has compassion, like everything, and I feel like that is what the women that have come to work with us in the Soul Lodge experience. They get to experience all of that, right? All of it. Like we just had a Soul Lodge on Friday, and I saw that. I saw like so many expressions of the mother, even the ones that are not yet mothers, like they haven't birthed, but they still got to experience that, right? That connection to the mother.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a biological mother to be a mother.
Right.
It's an essence. It's an energy. It's an archetypal energy that exists within all of the feminine.
Yeah, and so for me to be able to experience, what the mother is, right, and all his emotions and all his, expressions, to be able to accept her in that, right, even like the mother as death. Also,
yes.
Which, that I feel like Cara has been that for me. There's been a lot of parts that have had to die in order for me to be in a relationship with Cara, as she represents the mother, and the archetype, but also the mother of my children and of all the things that we birthed together.
Yeah, and even like the mother of this community of like priestesses and women that we work with. I hold that frequency for them, and I am the mirror. I'm a mirror to them for their inner mother, the woundings, their distortions, all of those things, for their power, for their strength, for their inner creatrix, like all of those things. There's seductress, like all of the things that the mother is, right? I have a program called the Erotic Mother, because there is such a distinctive split, between in our culture and in humanity today, that at one point thousands of years ago did not exist, because people understood that it was one and the same. And through this journey, it has really showed me that I can exist and be both in all of me in that full expression, as you're just sharing about with the mother. And I really do refer to this a lot of times. Like, I really feel like this is like the dark mother, because it is a part, it's not dark as in bad or evil or satanic or, devil or anything like that, but just that we all have light energy and dark energy. And it's like what the dark is in, like that power, that eroticism, that sexuality, that fierceness.
Yeah, that
truth,
that power that would kill to protect its children, right?
Yeah, primal.
That primal energy,
Yes, and also, like you said, that death aspect, right? Of course, mothers are the givers and bearers of life, but we are also death, and you cannot have one without the other. It's just the transformation cycle, and you can look at the earth and the seasons to see that. And this is like such a huge piece of the mother that has been rejected. And, there's this deep separation that a lot of us feel when it comes to the mother. And actually the passage in the book that we spoke of earlier, when you open to that page, and it said that we so deeply connect to the mother, to earth, through our feet. And we have both experienced this so prominently, so significantly, in such a somatic way. Literally, I can feel energy like moving out of my body, often out through my feet. You also experience that.
I have my experience is that I feel very helped by the earth, by the earth, Mother Earth. We haven't done a lot lately, but we used to on the regular go on hikes, which actually we were talking about going on a hike. Because it offers so much to be in the woods and be connected to the mother and feel the wind in your face and the birds and the earth and like everything right there. We felt like it just held us through transformation. And I think like that is like part also like of like something that are part of our mission to connect people to earth again, to the mother, to because we are children of the earth. But we have rejected it or we're disconnected from it. And there's so much there, right? There's so much that the earth has to offer us. That's another part of the Soul Lodge too, that allows us to do that. To reconnect to that,
And I'm getting really activated right now when you start talking about the hikes, because so we actually have a retreat and experience that we run. It's called the Initiation, and it is a return to your ancient healer, to reconnecting back to that Earth Mother aspect of yourself and the deep, profound gifts that are locked away and hidden deep within you. And through this reconnection to the mother, it brings these expressions of you back to the surface, back into the light, and back into their power in a deeply and profoundly liberating, ecstatic and blissful way. And the Temescal, the Sweat Lodge, is a piece of the retreat, of the Initiation retreat experience, as is a hike. So we do a wild woman hike where we go in and we reconnect with the earth, with the Primordial Mother, and we allow her to be our guide on the trail. And we go out and we do other like really deep healing work and meditation, and I really consider it more of a communing with her. And she actually has given me this is the only guidance that I live by now, is I only utilize the guidance of the mother, of the Primordial Mother. She is who tells me what I am to do next. I've opened my being and myself and my channel so fully to her that she is what guides me into my next steps in business. And I would say ours, right? Like, because we both, follow her so wholly and fully. And, she has called to you and spoken to you in so many different ways. It's like why we live here, where we live. It's why you built this Temescal. There's so many things. But this hike, on these hikes, she has literally said, bring more women to me. Bring more women to me. Right? And then I think it also goes to say, like, we also have an underground temple that is literally surrounded by Mother Earth, by her, and it's in her.
So yeah, it's interesting because I said this is something that has just been like a natural progression, an evolution of our work, and now I'm starting to see how the mother's always present in all the work that we do. It just shows up differently, but it's always there, right? And like I said, for me, it's been a huge part of my healing journey. To even now, the activations for the Sweat Lodge a lot of times are not feeling worthy of the mother, right? And as a man, the first rejection I ever experienced was from a mother. As I came out of her wound and I was no longer part of her, and then, being breastfed and then having to disconnect from that, and going from a little boy to being a man, and feeling like, some kind of rejection, right? That somehow there's stories that got created, and one of the stories created that is like, I wasn't worthy of the love of the mother, right? And I think a lot of men have that, right? A lot of men feel that rejection and that disconnection to their mother and to the feminine. And I think that, having the Soul Lodge and having to be able to be a service to this woman has allowed me to work through that, and every single time, every Soul Lodge that I have, or even temple sessions that we have, this part comes up, you know, of like not feeling worthy, or wanting to be acknowledged or accepted by the feminine, by the mother, and for me to have the opportunity to work through that.
Yes. Yeah, same. And same for me. I mean, I also get to I feel like work through my mother wounds as well every time we facilitate a sweat lodge. And yes, like mother wounds as in like things that maybe that I experienced with my mom, but it more so feels like even deeper than that. It's like the collective unconscious wounds that exist within women in general, around like the burdens that we feel being in the role of the mother, the lack of support that we experience in our societies today that has been occurring for centuries, right? I've this feeling responsible for everyone else's well-being, but putting ourselves not as a priority or even last, right? And then having nothing left to give, and then feeling like a failure, or feeling like then we're this terrible mother because we have these outbursts, or have this anger, this just unresolvable anger within us, right? And the resentment, I think a lot of us can really relate to that. And hosting the Temescals feels that activates opportunities for healing this every single time, and feel that feeling of also of aloneness, of being alone as a mother, because of this disconnection that we as a society, as a humanity, all have. Right? We all have this, and part of this this journey that we have been walking, and a huge component of our work that I channels through me all the time is return to me, come back home, like see beyond the veil, and it's like coming back and reconnecting with her. And some of the ways in which we do that is through hiking, is through putting your bare feet on the earth. And I don't just mean earthing. I don't just mean for grounding purposes. I mean to deeply fucking reconnect to an aspect of yourself that is so deeply rejected, and that we are so deeply disconnected from, that literally nourishes you and supports you and will give you everything that you have ever wanted or needed.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was having these visions of because we also do the Soul Lodge for men, right?
Yes.
And I used to do them by myself, and I still do them by myself. But on one of the Soul Lodges, I just felt called to have Cara and like do an activation or do something, with us, right? As we men are getting ready to go into the Soul Lodge. And so I said, hey, Cara, I feel like you need to be part of this pre-ceremony. I'm not sure in what capacity, but like, can you just come maybe and share some words? And so Cara's like, yeah. So she comes out there, as we're getting ready to go into the Soul Lodge, and she's just activates us. And now I understand. Now she does it every single time. But for her as the representation of the mother, and for her in that moment to connect with each man and share some words of love, of acceptance, of acknowledgement, is like in that moment it becomes so clear how much we men crave that. That when Cara speaks, men start crying, they start sobbing. They feel like they're ready to give it all for the mother, right? And then we go in there, and it's fucking beautiful, right? It's like we just go, and we're like ready to like let everything, all those beliefs of the mother die. That we're not loved, that we're not accepted, that we're alone. And in that moment, like you really feel like if you died, it would be totally fine, you know, because you just felt the love of the mother and that unconditional love, you know, and it's such an activation, you know, that I said it became very clear that Cara was supposed to do this for us.
Yeah.
And like I said, that also has been my journey, you know, with the mother, to receive her.
Yes.
And to receive her, because there's this, like Cara was saying, there's such a disconnect from the mother, right? That we don't understand her, you know, and we feel this, we feel distance from it, right? And I think that a lot of the things that that are happening right now in the world is because of that disconnection.
Yeah.
Like, we've lost that reverence for the earth, you know, how much it gives us, you know. We're so disconnected from even our food, you know. We just go to the store and buy this food that's already in a package, you know, but it came from the earth. It came from the mother, right? And so we disconnected in that way, right? Like, we've put mothers as, you know, not a priority, right? Which mothers are the ones that are birthing the children. They're nourishing the children. They're teaching the children, right? But now it's kind of like we fail to understand the task, you know, of the mother. You know, how much she gives, the importance, you know, and because we live in a society that is disconnected from that, you know, there's so much trauma and pain that's caused for both, for the masculine and for the feminine.
Yes, and there's such a there's so much here, and like I love that you're addressing the physical component of our food source and even our water source, right? Like, we don't drink living water that's nourished, like, that comes from the earth anymore. It's got chemicals and done all of these things to it, and so we've lost that connection as well. And we're even told that don't drink, you know, water from the earth. It will kill you and give you, you know, parasites and bacteria and what have you. But we're meant to. That's how we were designed. You know, humans did not make it this far because they bleached and chlorined and fluorided their water. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you know, because you know, so I'm from California. I grew up in California, like 5 minutes away from the ocean, right? And also my parents were also farmers, so they grew produce. You know, when we lived in California for a part of it, and I just remember being so much more connected and in tune with nature, right? With the growing vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, right? And it gave me a total different appreciation for what I had in front of me, because I knew the relation between the earth and myself. You know, I knew the respect I had for the ocean, but also how much it gave me, and I had so much reverence for the ocean, right? And I just remember, like, being in the presence of the ocean and feeling small and big at the same time. You know, feeling that peace, feeling held, all this relationship that I had with nature, right? And then I lost that, and I lost myself.
Yes, and that actually speaks back to the passage that we read this morning, where when we are disconnected, we do lose ourselves. We forget who we are. We forget why we're here. We forget what our purpose is. We feel unsafe. We feel unloved. We feel unnourished, unsupported. And, you know, you grew up, you know, around the ocean, whereas I grew up here in the Midwest in St. Louis. But I did grow up in nature. We grew up with, you know, I grew up on 3 acres. Both of my childhood homes that I lived in had 3 acres, and they were wooded. But as a little girl, I used to climb trees, and I would play in the mud and the grass, and, you know, play in the woods and be in nature a lot. I remember that so distinctly because that was available to me. And, I really do think that there was so much more there for me than what I can really probably ever, you know, could ever realize totally. And, you know, we also live in a rural area now, and our children are also growing up in woods and, you know, on a little piece of land, and barefoot, you know, and just getting to really commune with her on a daily basis. And it's such a gift to us. And I think that that's really the invitation for us. Like, from us to you is to reconnect with her, you know, is to be willing to go sit with her and ask her what she wants you to know. What message does she have for you?
To receive her.
To receive her, to feel her unconditional love and her support. And you can give your pain to the earth, and it heals her as she heals you. Like, the earth is an alchemizer, is a transmuter of our pains, of our wounds, of our hurt. And that is really like such a, I think if we're coming full circle back to our work and what we do in these retreats that we facilitate, the initiations, is we are returning you back to her, to your primal nature, to your inner mother, to the fierceness, to the compassionate, to the boundaried, loving aspect of your own inner dark mother, and bringing her back into the light, back into wholeness, because so many of our gifts lie there.
Yeah, and also to your creation, because the mother is creation.
Yes.
And I mean creation in of life, but also of like your gifts, you know, of your new businesses, desires, like new way of doing relationships, creating new relationships, you know, creating a new identity, you know, creating, I mean, just, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but of creation, right? To tap into that, what the mother is, creation.
Yes.
It births life.
Yes.
And that's a big part of thing that for some of us we've forgotten, you know, how to do that, you know, how to tap into that, you know.
Yes, and that,
how to trust it too.
Yes, there is a huge trust piece here, and this really, and we've talked about some of that trust piece in some of our past temple talks, and it's there was something I was just gonna say. The creatrix piece really comes full circle back to that first moment, that first time we went into the Temescal together, and she said, everything you desire is yours. And I could not for the life of me comprehend what that meant, but she has been teaching me for the last almost a year and a half plus what she meant by that. And that has meant that I have had to be willing to receive. And the journey to receivership, because in order to experience creation, you must be willing to receive it, you know. And that has meant that so many stories have had to die. That has meant that I have had to come back into wholeness so much, and I've had to really be willing to see that I am supported, that I am nourished, that I am already all of the things that I desire, that I actually have always had them and already do have them. And I can hear like so many of the like, but, oh, you don't know me, or you don't know my life, or that's not true for me. And I understand all of that. I deeply, deeply, deeply do. It's a whole other conversation, but I was shown where I have always been supported. It just didn't look like how I thought it should look. And that is the key, is we always get what we want, whether it's consciously or subconsciously.
We always get what we need.
We do always get what we need, yes.
Right?
Well, and sometimes we do get what we want. It's just sometimes a subconscious, it's a subconscious want that we have. And so it comes, and it can be in a very bitter or harsh way, but we do get it. We always get what we want, I think. I think we always get what we want, but it does not come how we think that it should, or how we wanted it to come. Because we don't always realize what we're asking. We don't always realize what we're asking. And the mother will teach you. She will give it to you. She will show you, here is what you're asking for. And if you don't fucking like it, and if it fucking hurts and it's painful and it's hard, well, then that is where we have to look and say, where am I asking for this pain, for this struggle, for this suffering, right? Because to really allow ourselves to receive and let it be easy is so challenging. We're just not, we're not programmed in that way in this moment in time, and in our but we can work towards that, right? Like, but we can pull back those veils and see what is really operating beneath the surface, right? Because the truth of the matter is digging into the earth is dark, and it's scary, and it's heavy, and it's very dark matter. And there's a lot of truths about humanity and about the earth herself that are dark, that are scary, that are ugly, but it's all part of her, right? And that is what she shows us. And she shows us how much more of ourselves there is to love often through our harsh realities.
Yeah. And, as we are sharing this whole, not whole, but part of our journey with you, it's such an evolution, and like now we're speaking about it, how everything has happened, but there was at one point we didn't understand what that was. Like for me, I searched for years and years and years till I finally found, like, oh, this is where source is for me. This is where I'm finding so much support and healing, and so much medicine is for me here. And like Cara was saying, some of it's been gentle, some of it has been
harsh,
easy, and some of it has been harsh, and some of it has been, like I said, not the most pleasant, painful. Right? But that's the mother. She's everything. She's everything, and you can't pick and choose, what she is, Yeah. And I think that our invitation to you is to come walk this path with us, to come experience that, to allow us to receive the mother, but also for us to share our journey with you.
Yeah. And as you're saying this, I'm hearing it's like it's the dichotomy of human life, of our existence. And when we reject that there is aspects of us that are dark and evil and ugly and painful and harmful, then we prolong our own suffering. But when we accept that is also who we are, that we are love, and we are light, and we are beauty, and we are ecstasy, and we are bliss, and we are pleasure, and we are also pain, and we are also suffering, and we are also harmful and harming, and we are all of it. We are all of it, right? And that accepting the allness of it, that is where wholeness lives. That is where unconditional love is remembered. This is all a remembering. And that is part of our journey and our path that we are inviting you to remember with us. This is where peace comes, right? It's not that you'll never experience anything painful or hard again. That's not it. That will always exist, right? It has to. There cannot be one without the other. But it's to embrace that it all exists and not deny the existence of any of it. And that is how we create a life of everything we desire.
I've witnessed Cara give birth 5 times, and it's been all the above, right? It's been beautiful, and it's been also like scary, and it's been painful, and it's been uncomfortable, and it's been blissful, and that's the whole, what do you call it? Like the whole experience, It's everything. It's everything.
Yes, well, I think technically you've watched me give birth more than that, but physical birth, yes. There's been many energetic rebirths that you've also been present for with me, and that's also a huge component of our work is that you get an opportunity to rebirth yourself and to do it in an orgasmic, beautiful way.
Yes.
Birthing your new, we call it a new identity. It's really more of like rebirthing existing aspects of yourself that have always been there. It's a very much a remembering. Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about the retreat?
Yes, we would love to have you, if you feel called to this work, and if this conversation or any of our temple talks resonate with you, we would love to have you join us November 9th through 11th. So just a few weeks here. It's coming up quickly. We are in St. Louis, specifically Pacific, Missouri. It's a very small town. We're just on the outskirts of the St. Louis area, and we are hosting a 3-day retreat experience. It is one of the most deepest transformations that you will ever likely experience. We will take you into multiple ceremonies to reconnect yourself to the mother and to your ancient gifts, accessing, healing your inner child, healing shadowy aspects and bringing them back into wholeness, healing karmic past life woundings, so that these parts of you can become fully expressed, so that you may be liberated to fully walk this earth again in your fullest power and expression of that, all aspects of you. We really operate from a foundation of all parts of you are welcome here. And there is no part of you that we will not love. And that is because the mother's love is unconditional. And here's where you get to heal the most deeply wounded aspects of yourself. There's a lot of sexual healing that happens here, a lot of trauma healing that happens in our spaces, in our containers. We start with we meet on a Thursday. We have our opening ceremony, and then we really get to connect and share what we're all doing and setting our intention for the weekend. And then we have a beautiful family style dinner together. And then the following day we meet early in the morning and we go on our Wild Woman hike. And that's just us women. We just us go. And then in the evening we'll return back. Well, we go have lunch together, and then in the evening we meet again for our Temescal ceremony, and that is where we prepare again to die and to be reborn inside the womb of the mother. It's a full rebirth, and that is such a profound and beautiful experience. The lessons of the Temescal are so plentiful and deep, so much deeper than you can possibly imagine. Women's gifts literally get activated on this. They find out how powerful they are, how strong they are, where their edge is. You get to witness yourself and your patterns, and you get to create new beliefs, new stories, new identities. You get to interrupt those old patterns. You get to liberate ancestral chains. You get to liberate yourself from ancestral chains that may be holding you back from experiencing the life and the love that you desire. A lot of our work is also deeply based around intimacy and connection, right? Because that is what the mother is, right? So we're returning back to that, and accessing our sacred yes and our sacred no, and the boundaries, and holding ourselves and our being and our essence as sacred, and really honoring ourselves. This is such a huge piece of the ancient healer, that as we're bringing our gifts back online, that we have to remember how truly, truly sacred we are, and living in that temple consciousness again, right, as we once did as ancient healers. So the following day, on Saturday morning, we have, again, a homemade breakfast together, and then we go into temple sessions. And the temple sessions are held in our underground temple. And again, it's like stepping back and through a portal into ancient times. The remembrance there is so profound. The first time I stepped into the temple for ceremony, I just wept.
And that's what it is. It is a portal.
It is a portal.
The moment you enter there, you travel somewhere else. You don't realize you're here in the Midwest. You feel like you just travel back in time, that you're in a different place.
Yes.
And the space in man's sacredness, reverence. Yes. And it's so supportive of the work.
Yes. Yes. You cannot be in temple and not remember your sacredness. Same thing with the Temescal. It is also a portal. It's a portal to the womb of the earth. Like, you cannot step into that space and not, it commands sacredness. And so as you are immersed in the sacredness, and we honestly, our entire property, our home, who we are, is such an embodiment and remembrance encoded in that sacredness, that it is just being through osmosis of being here. It is being imprinted into all of your cells of your being, so that as you return back to your regular life, you are just continuously unveiling your own inner sacredness and remembering yourself and how important and reverent and worthy you are of being honored and revered. And this is such a huge piece of the work, and the mission is to return the ancient healers back to their rightful place in society again, as being honored and revered, and returning you back to that power, to the power of the pure-hearted. And that is through you accessing and receiving everything that you desire, right? And so I hope you can kind of see the weaving in of all of this, but it's such a huge initiation to returning back to all that you are and all that you are here to be. And that is the initiation that we facilitate for you.
Yeah, and also too, there's 3 integration calls after that, which I feel like they're also very, very powerful.
Yes.
To give you further assistance as you integrate. Yeah.
Yes, it's 6 weeks of ongoing support after that, and we also have a pre-retreat call to really drop into the frequency and answer questions and get everyone prepared for the experience. And yeah, so we would love to have you. The investment is $1,666. Please reach out and let us know. We're happy to jump on a connection call with you. I can post the link in one of these videos here for you to look over the specific details and the itinerary of the retreat. And there's a travel guide for you if you're coming in from out of town. There's usually, at this time, we have another woman from Canada coming in. Last time we had a Canadian woman as well. So people travel in, they come from Illinois. We had Chicago last time. We actually just had a woman from Colorado here for the last Temescal. People travel from all over the country, and actually we have someone coming from the Netherlands. The Netherlands for a private initiation experience later in November. So wherever you are in the world, we are here to receive you and guide you back home to the truth of who you are. It would be our honor. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Thank you. We'll see you again next week, same time, 11 a.m. Central. Take care.